Well, what do we have here today? Got a MS400. You see in the background, case splitter. Hey, it's like a pretty new saw. Sure is. I got a mystery. So let's look at the mystery. Somehow or another, and that's egg shaped, you really can't tell. I mean, there we go. And that bar pad is cracked right there. So I thought, okay, this might be a case of being ham-handed. I do see, and this was taken out before I got here. This is how I came to work this morning and found this. I see a couple of threads pulled in there. But those threads are fine. Typically, if it had been over tight, you'd see those threads pushed towards the outside out here. That'd be raised. But, and the threads on here are still good. I don't know if you can tell that, but they're not pulled. So I'm still waiting for more answers. Here's the bar that came off of it. I've checked it, it's straight. I don't see any crazy issues. But what I do have in my handy dandy bag of tricks is basically a takeoff MS400 case. These are a little different than the 362s because it's a forward fed cylinder. But this is off a very, very low hour saw that it came to me with a busted up top end and burnt crank. So there's a look, and it is, I mean, you know, it's thin meat right there, but that's a new one on me. So let me strip this thing down and we'll do a little switcho swappo. Okay, it took me about 30 minutes, 25 minutes to get to this point. I'm going to try, see that? I was in a hurry, so I made my own homemade bark box. And you know, Gordy knows this already, that because there's no divider right here that only pushes the exhaust out from up top, I got a little too much heat on this side of the case. I'm gonna do a little band-aid work on that. But you know, for something we just do shop made together, obviously Gordy's are nicer. But I've got a melted piece of plastic right here for my dust cover. So that's an it's melted in there too. I mean, it's just a dust cover, but it's the thought that counts. Nothing like R&D to get something going. And again, you know, we're running AMSOIL here, so when I get this cylinder pulled off, I'll give you a quick snapshot. Show you what the magnesium piston looks like on this. Alrighty, let's see what we got here in our little magnesium alloy piston. Got a great coat of oil where it's really important, in the bottom end. You know, 50-to-1 always seems to do okay top end wise. And I didn't even look at this. I put my glasses on while I look at it through my phone. Nice stuff there. If that's discoloring or... It's interesting. You know, I've only seen a handful of these magnesium pistons and wonder if, you know, that's a heat related thing where it's stained, or is that exhaust gas / unburnt carbon. That's a little bit more carbon than I'd expect to see out of Sabre. Let's take a look at the piston. I haven't even flipped it over yet. Excuse me, let's look at the cylinder. That's more like it. Too much light. Maybe that'll help a little bit. We get something. There we go. Very light carbon. Everything's all nice. Plug looks good. No, let's see what the exhaust port looks like. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look at this sideways, I think. stay. Telling you, man, Saber's where it's at. You guys can love or hate it, but it's hard to argue with repeated results. Different saws, M-tronic, carbureted, old school. I got my custom base gasket in, or not my custom, but my factory gasket in for a short case. So this is my other. We'll do a follow-up. Shit, I forgot to bring my porting tools to work. Damn it. Maybe at lunchtime when I get done with this, I'll be able to get that finished up. All right, I'm going to try and cheat here. I'm not going to remove the crank. I am going to pull this case half off with this pull. If you don't have one of these, buy it. It's like 60 bucks or something like that. Jeez, makes splitting the case so much easier. I know Steel makes one, but I'd be hard pressed to use it today because I've only got one stud to hold on to that bracket that goes over and pulls. But you know, you can't spoil a rotten tomato. So I'm going to try and leave the flywheel side case intact with the crankshaft. Now obviously, in order to use that puller, I've got to remove the piston, which is easy peasy, and see if I can snake that off. And you know, I'm cheating here. Somebody's gonna call me out for this. These are one-time use aluminum alloy bolts. They're non-magnetic, but I'm going to give a shot at putting these back in and reusing the base gasket, excuse me, the case gasket. Just gonna put a little miracle salve around the crankcase, and everything else should seal back up. You know, this is a low hour saw. You know, the gasket, I'm sure, is not completely crispy or anything like that. All right, enough jabbering. Let me see if I can do this without removing the flywheel, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I got my old bearing out of the case, and I heated the case, slid that in there, and then I just keep that over there to keep it warm, so it makes it easier for the inner race to go on the shaft. If this was a metal cage bearing, you could actually throw a little bit of heat to the inside race of the bearing to get it to swell just a little bit, and it goes on a little easier. I am going to put some anaerobic sealer just right here in the crankcase, just for an ounce of insurance. And I got some information on a possible way that failed, and I'll give that to you in just a minute. Best laid plans. It's that little tiny spring right here. Here, let me get that out of there. Anyway, that's a spring on the inside of the oil seal. Come here, you. Never mind, I'll get it later off camera. Here's a gasket set for, this is a 460, same seal shared for this. So I had to pop the other one out because it rolled the seal when I was trying to drive it over. It's real easy on these because there is a wonderful little lip that you can see right there above the spring, and that is for where is it at? A retaining clip. There we go. To keep the oiler gear off of the seal. Anyway, I'm gonna finish assembling this, but that was a good save. I knew I was playing with fire. Typically, what I'll do installing is take a piece of this plastic right here, wrap it around the crankshaft, and then slide and press in the seal, and that helps it go over that ridge without rolling. Where's it at? Without rolling the spring out of its home. All right, just about done. Oh, and here's the I heard that this saw took a bounce, like they dropped it, I don't know how far, and it landed on the bar. So I think when the bar hit, there was enough fulcrum to push. And I mean, you can see it's super thin right there. I mean, that's, let me put my thumb there. I mean, it's there's not a lot of meat right there. So I can definitely see how that would have pushed down on that. They said it ran for a couple of days after that, and obviously I'm sure once they had to tighten up. But then you got plenty of threads. You know, these threads go in pretty deep, so it probably didn't just back out. That's not blood, that's anaerobic. Anyway, there's that. We'll have this back together in just a minute. Okay, so that worked like a champ. And so with steel, you can buy one standalone case half or the other standalone case half. With a Husky, they sell you one case that is bolted together, and this is a fully machine service all at once. So what you'll have to do, even if you had bought like a brand new one from the dealer, if you're doing this, just check and see if you have, this side's really close, and I've got a little bit of a lip right here. See, just enough for me to catch my thumb on. So it should be all right. I believe the gasket material will take that, but just for a little insurance, I'll use a little bit of gasket maker right here just to pick up that extra thousandths that this side's low. All right. Alrighty, everything's back together. No runs, no drips, no airs. What new case half? Instead of trying to do an angled partition, I might lose a little bit of flow, but I mean, that's a ginormous opening right there, so no harm, no foul. I think that's a good fix. I'm gonna have to get a fresh dust cover for that, but it should stay in place. You know, the bar pushes at the clutch cover, side covers will hold that. Oh gosh. Never mind. Whatever. All right, so that's back in business. Let me know if anybody else has had any issues with that right there. You know. And again, I don't think it's a defect, more so than just there's not nearly as much meat right here as there has been in, you know, hell, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching.